The moment I realized I was black, I mean, I always knew I was black all my life. I think maybe the day I came out my mom's womb. But I think it really hit me when I was in high school. I went to a predominantly white school. And I mean, for the most part, I would say I spoke proper. But to a lot of, like white kids, they would say, you speak really good for a black girl, or you speak white. And at that moment, I remember going home, like, Dad, like, these girls said I spoke too good for a black girl, or I speak too white. And then my mom and dad looked at me and they said, no, you speak proper. And I don't know, I just think a lot of times when you're a black person, or you're placed in a minority group, negativity is always associated with the color black. You have blackface, you have black ghost, you have like everything that that is black is always associated with a negative. So I think that was the moment I realized I was black in society. How have I used that to better me, if you might ask? Well, I don't think I speak white. I think I speak proper, and I think that's the term, that should be used. You can enunciate, you can project your voice in a certain way. So, yeah, that's the moment I realized I was black.
When I realized I was black, I guess I've always known I was black. Growing up in Africa, your parents teach you about, to be proud of who you are, your identity, who you identify with, where you're from. Roots are a huge thing in Africa. So I've always known I was black. Coming here to America to live here, it really changed everything, because over here, the word black or African American, it has like negative things that go with it. But over there, everything's positive. Basically, it's about like unity over there. Over here, it's about separation and racism. So I guess that's the difference between myself and people who might come from here, where when they realize they're black, it's through a negative situation or something that happened at school, at work, or something like that. But I guess I've always known I was black, and proud to be black, never will stop.
Shit, wait, I don't know what I'm gonna say. Okay. I think I first realized I was black because, when I grew up in the Caribbean, so they would always teach us about Caribbean history. So we just always knew, and we were always taught. And then I think coming to America just kind of cemented it more, because you're around white people and Middle Eastern and Hispanics, so you're really forced to kind of identify with a group. So yeah.
Alright, so the first time I realized I was black was when I came here to Austria, you get me? And realized there's one bunch of white people about. See? And in Jamaica, it's like, basically I'm white, look at my complexion. But up here, I'm black, you get me? So it's like a whole different thing, you see me? Then it's soft still, you see me? Because I don't know my style already. So yeah, I moved here like last year. Yeah, last year December 2013. You get me? And it's like, when I came up here in Florida. In Florida, there's like one bunch of Jamaicans, so it's like I felt at home. You get me? So then now, when I come here now in America, it's like, here I'm going America. When I came here now at Hofstra, and I see so many white people, and it's like, people pre are different, true you're black. You get me? It's like a different vibe. You get me? But then again, don't even look at that still. You get me? Because it's like, alright, in Jamaica, it's just like the looks that you get from people. You get me? Like people look on you and it's like, and them say certain things like, don't steal this or don't steal that. Like, you get me? I wouldn't get that kind of vibe in Jamaica. You get me? So it's like, racism is a different thing up here than it was in Jamaica. Like, I wouldn't say that to my darker skinned friends in Jamaica. You see me? Like, racism isn't a problem in Jamaica, but it's like a problem up here. Like, it don't really bother me though still because I'm me. Fuck you if you don't like me. You get it? But, I mean, like, that's that. So.
Okay.
Just
So
like
the
you wanted
first
to hear.
time that I realized I was black was when I went to high school, because growing up, I guess my family was multiracial and they never talked about it, so I didn't consider it as much. But in high school, people wanted me to define myself, I guess, or be sure of what I was. So, yeah.
I'm about to tell you about the first time I discovered I was black, which was like kindergarten, first grade and shit, because I was going to school, little white. Hold on. What's up? My name is Richposlim. I'm about to tell you about the first time I realized I was black, which was like kindergarten, first grade, or something like that. Because you can see I'm light skinned. My mom was a very fair-skinned woman and my grandma white. So I really didn't have no frame of reference. I didn't really get it. So I started going to school with little white kids and learning that their parents teach them to be hella racist, hella early. And yeah, had an altercation with a little white kid about some shit. And yeah, he basically called me a nigga. I didn't know what was going on. And I had to go back home and ask my mom what the hell he talking about with all this nigga shit, because it didn't feel the same. It was with the hard ER on that bitch. And I heard nigga all the time and shit. You know what I'm saying? Growing up in black neighborhoods and shit like that. But it wasn't never no thing. It was like them people, you young, you don't really get it, you a kid. And then I asked my mama, yeah, it was a nigga. And she was like, whoa. Who said something about that, boy? And where you getting this from? I told her about her little situation with a little white kid and shit, and she goddamn started explaining a lot of black racist space, civil racist shit to me at a young age. And it was like from then she started putting me on all the like Huey Newton shit, like Martin Luther King, Muhammad Ali, all that good black man upstanding shit. And I was like, hell yeah, that's me. I'm black. This is where I come from. These are the people that I can rock with and shit. Yeah.
Okay. The first time I noticed that I was black. I am actually Puerto Rican, Dominican, and black. I was raised by like strictly very Puerto Rican family, like straight off the boat. So I've always kind of like stood out in my family because they're very like pale, long hair, straight, like very, very typical like Puerto Rican aesthetics. So I've always noticed that like I have really curly hair and my skin's very brown and I don't have any cousins that look like me. And even my mom's kind of brown because she's Dominican, but like she doesn't look like me. Like I just looked very different. So I always felt like out of place and I didn't realize what it was until I went to school and I realized like there was no one who kind of looked like me there either because it was an all-white school. So not only did I go home and like realize like I don't look like my very white passing Puerto Rican family, I don't look like the kids I go to school with. And why is that? You know? And it was at that moment that I was like, wow, I'm black. Like this is what is the one variable that I don't have in common with anyone else in my first surroundings, you know? So it's always been like something in the back of my head, and you know, I always identified as Spanish growing up. I would make an effort to be like, no, I'm Spanish, I'm Spanish, I'm Spanish. And then it wasn't until I probably moved to New York that I realized that being Black was such a blessing. Like, we're so cool. Like, we're dead ass so cool. You know, I really embrace my natural hair. I stopped straightening it. I really play into my colors because I know, like, I look good. Because my skin is brown, I look almost good in almost everything. Because, you know, whatever. But, yeah. Being Black. I used to kind of shy away from it, and now I'm very much so in love with it. And I even have a hard time identifying as just Hispanic anymore. Even though it's a very strong part of my background, I just feel as though being Black is so much more to me now. Maybe because I never identified before, and now I'm really discovering myself as a Black woman as well as a Hispanic woman. So, yeah.
Hi, I'm Shakera Robinson. The first time I realized, you know, I was Black, I would say, when I was younger, my mom's always instilled Blackness in us, but when I went to the YMCA camp, I was like around 5 or 6, and I had this really close friend, and I wanted to hang out with her after camp, but her parents didn't want to give me a ride or anything. So, you know, I didn't think much. I thought maybe they were busy. Wasn't thinking negative. I was a child. But the next day at camp, you know, I brought it up to her, like, oh, you know, when are we going to be able to hang out and stuff? And she's just like, that her parents said that she's not allowed to hang out with my kind. And, like, I kind of didn't get it at first. You know, like, when you're at that age, you don't know what, like, your kind or what you really are. You see everyone as, like, young kids and stuff. So I told my mom what happened, and then, like, she had to break it down to me, like, you know, that I'm Black and that, you know, this is going to be the first of many interactions I'm going to have with white people, and that, you know, to not be ashamed of who I am and to be proud. And, like, if no one wants to hang out with me because I'm Black, then, oh, well.
I think when I realized I was Black, I was in high school. And basically I went to a high school that was more white than, I lived in South Jersey, so it's kind of like more white than Black. And I was cool with everybody. I had a really, you know, good relationship with everybody, but it was always like the guys in my class, like the white guys in my class would be like, you're the only Black girl I would date. Or you're pretty for a Black girl. And it's like almost not even a compliment. And I didn't know how to take it, but, you know, I just brushed it off and I was just like, okay, you know, but yeah, it isn't, now that I'm thinking about it now, like I'm older now, it's like, wow, that's not really nice. You know, like there's so many beautiful Black women, beautiful Black people in general. And it's just like, oh, you're pretty for a Black, or, you know, like that's just, it's not even a compliment at that point. Like, it's just kind of like, okay. But also, there was another time where I was going to a party in Bushwick. I think it was Bushwick. And I'm walking with my friends, group of my friends, and we're just walking down the street to get to the party, and the police van just pulls up on the curb, and I'm like, whoa, what's going on? Like, so, like it was like a high-speed chase situation. And we just had, you know, open bottles of liquor, and they were just like giving us the hardest time because it was just like just take the can and throw it out. But it was just, we stayed there for an hour just dealing with it, and they just like were really rude to me and my friends. It's like, you know, we're trying to figure out what's going on and just like, shut up, don't talk. Do you want to go to jail? Don't talk. And it's just like, wow, like relax. It's just a lot going on. So, yeah.
I think I first realized I was Black when I came here to Hofstra because growing up through elementary school and middle school, I went to predominantly Black schools that are more like 95% Black and things like that. I grew up in Brooklyn, which is where I grew up especially was a predominantly Black area. Then coming here to Hofstra was just very different. Like, the school is majority white people, and you don't really see a lot of black people here. But when I first came here, like, I realized that in some of my classes even, I was like the only black person. So I think that was when I truly realized when I was black, was when I came here.
I realized when I was black when I went to Denver, Colorado. It was a school conference of mine, and it was myself and another student, or another classmate of mine. And we had to go to represent the school, you know, try to get the budget increase for the school as well. So we did speeches, had some fun out there. But I remember this one situation where there was a table, and there was a group of kids, so all white kids. It was just Colorado, that's all I saw. Really didn't see any Spanish people, any Asian people in the conference that I was in. So not even one black person. So I was like eating, wanted to get my food, and I wanted to go to this table to sit right next to these kids. And then they started like mooching on next to each other and like moving over to the side, and then they saw me and then gave me this eye and then decided to go back down. And I just figured, you know, I'm looking around me and like everyone's looking the same. I'm in a different attire. Everyone's pretty much dressed the same. But me and my other fellow, like, we're from different backgrounds. We come from an urban school, but yet, you know, we're in this illustrious conference trying to gain money for our schools to get for our education, and yet we're being judged based off of how we look, or how we may dress, or how we may talk, or how we may not blend in with everyone else. So, I mean, it's a pretty, what I can remember of the first time me being black.
Fuck what you heard, boy, my team on top. Phone hit hard and the freeze don't stop. I don't give a damn about this shit they drop. Next summer, dog, man, that shit gon'